The impossible detection? The Zephyrin Imperial Monitoring Station floated silently in the void between star systems, its massive sensor arrays constantly scanning the darkness. For 3,000 years, Station Prime had watched over this crucial junction of hyperspace lanes. Nothing moved through this sector without the Zephyrin Empire knowing about it. Sensor technician Valix had served at his post for 40 cycles. He had seen merchant convoys, pirate raids, and military patrols pass through his screens countless times. The job had become routine, almost boring. That changed in an instant when his console erupted with warning signals. The readings made no sense. According to his instruments, something was approaching through hyperspace with an energy signature that defied everything he knew about physics. The mass readings fluctuated wildly between impossibly small and impossibly large. The speed calculations showed velocities that should have torn any ship apart. Valix ran diagnostic protocols 3 times. Each result came back the same. His equipment was functioning perfectly. Whatever was coming, it was real, and it was unlike anything in the Zephyrin database. He activated the priority alert system, knowing this would wake Admiral Korthax from his rest cycle. The Admiral would not be pleased, but this warranted his immediate attention. Admiral Korthax materialized on the holographic communication platform within seconds. The veteran commander had led the Zephyrin fleet for 200 cycles, conquering 17 species and adding their worlds to the Empire. His reputation for ruthless efficiency was legendary. His forearms crossed over his chest as he glared at Valix through the projection. The technician transmitted the data without speaking. Words would only waste time. Korthax studied the information, his 6 eyes narrowing as he processed what he was seeing. The silence stretched for several long moments before the Admiral finally spoke. These readings suggest a power output exceeding our largest dreadnoughts by a factor of 10. The mass fluctuations indicate some form of technology we have never encountered. Where's this object originating from? Valix checked his calculations again before answering. The trajectory suggests it comes from the outer rim, Admiral. From the region the locals call the Sol system. The Admiral's expression shifted from annoyance to confusion. Sol system? That backwater collection of rocks? The inhabitants there barely achieved faster than light travel 50 years ago. They call themselves humans, if I remember correctly. Primitive bipeds with no natural advantages. They should not have technology capable of these readings. Perhaps our intelligence on them is outdated, Admiral. Korthax considered this. The Empire had dismissed humanity as insignificant when they first detected their weak radio signals centuries ago. When humans finally achieved FTL travel, the Empire had noted it but saw no threat. Humans occupied a few colony worlds on the galactic edge, far from any strategic importance. They were scheduled for eventual conquest, but there had been no urgency. Deploy the 3rd Patrol Fleet to intercept, Korthax ordered. 20 destroyers should be sufficient to handle whatever this anomaly turns out to be. If it is truly a human vessel, they will learn the price of entering Zephyrin space without permission. Meanwhile, aboard the experimental starship Phoenix Rising, Captain Sarah Mitchell reviewed the latest reports from her engineering team. The ship hummed with barely contained energy, its revolutionary fusion cores operating at peak efficiency. Everything was performing beyond their wildest expectations. The Phoenix Rising represented 20 years of secret development. Earth's united government had poured unlimited resources into the project, determined to create something that would ensure humanity's survival among the stars. They had succeeded beyond imagination. Captain, we're detecting multiple contacts ahead, reported Lieutenant Commander James Chen from the tactical station. 20 vessels, Zephyrin configuration. They're moving to intercept. Sarah nodded calmly. They had expected this. Maintain course and speed. Open standard communication channels. Transmit our peaceful intentions in all known languages. No response, Captain. They're accelerating toward us. Chief Engineer Rodriguez called up from the engine room. Captain, should I begin power allocation to defensive systems? Not yet, Chief. Let's see if they're willing to talk first. The Phoenix Rising continued forward, its sleek hull cutting through space like a knife through silk. The ship was smaller than the approaching Zephyrin destroyers, but size had never been humanity's advantage. Humans had learned to be clever, to be efficient, to do more with less. The Phoenix Rising embodied those principles perfectly. Commander Torvak led the 3rd Patrol Fleet from his flagship. His orders were simple: stop the intruding vessel, determine its origin, and capture it if possible. If not possible, destroy it. The Zephyrin Empire did not tolerate unauthorized incursions into their space. "Warships, the target is not responding to our commands," his communication officer reported. "It maintains its heading directly toward our position." "Then they have chosen confrontation," Torvak declared. "All ships prepare for combat. Disable their engines first. We will take them as prizes for the Empire." The 20 Zephyrin destroyers spread out in an attack formation that had proven effective against hundreds of opponents over the centuries. Each ship bristled with plasma cannons and missile launchers. Their shields glowed with protective energy. They were the pride of the Empire's military might. Sarah watched the Zephyrin ships arrange themselves. She recognized the formation from her studies of galactic military tactics. It was designed to overwhelm an opponent with converging fire from multiple angles. Against most ships, it would be devastating. "They're charging weapons, Captain," Chen reported. "Should I raise shields?" "Shields are already up, Commander. They've been up since we left Earth space. They just can't detect them yet." The Phoenix Rising's defensive systems were unlike anything else in the galaxy. Instead of projecting energy shields outward, human engineers had developed a way to bend space itself around the ship. Incoming fire would simply slide around the vessel like water around a stone. It was elegant, efficient, and nearly invisible to standard sensors. "Captain, they're hailing us," the communications officer announced. On screen, Commander Torvak appeared on the main display. His scaled face showed typical Zephyrin arrogance. "Unknown vessel, you have violated Zephyrin space. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. You have 10 seconds to comply." Sarah stood from her chair, facing the screen directly. "Commander, I am Captain Sarah Mitchell of the Earthship Phoenix Rising. We are on a peaceful diplomatic mission to establish formal contact with the Zephyrin Empire. We mean no harm, but we will defend ourselves if necessary." Torvak laughed, a harsh sound like grinding metal. "Humans, impossible. Your species does not possess technology capable of the readings we detected. You are either lying or using stolen technology. Either way, you will surrender now." "I'm afraid I can't do that, Commander. We have come too far to turn back now. Please contact your superiors. Let them know we wish to talk." The Zephyrin Empire does not negotiate with primitives. "All ships, open fire." 20 destroyers unleashed their weapons simultaneously. Hundreds of plasma bolts and missiles streaked toward the Phoenix Rising. The space between the two forces lit up like a stellar storm. It should have been overwhelming. It should have reduced any ship to scattered atoms. The Phoenix Rising didn't even shake. The plasma bolts curved away at the last moment, missing by meters. The missiles lost their target lock and spiraled off into empty space. A few detonated harmlessly against what looked like empty vacuum, but was actually the bent space surrounding the human vessel. On his bridge, Commander Torvak stared in disbelief. Every shot had missed. That was impossible. Zephyron targeting systems were accurate to the millimeter at this range. His tactical officer ran diagnostics, but the systems showed no errors. They had fired perfectly. The shots had simply failed to connect. "Fire again. All weapons, maximum power." The second barrage was even more intense. Energy beams that could slice through asteroid fields lashed out at the Phoenix Rising. Antimatter torpedoes that could crack moons raced toward their target. The combined firepower could have destroyed a small fleet. Sarah watched calmly as space bent around her ship, deflecting every attack. "Are they done yet?" she asked Chen. "They're reloading for a third volley, Captain. I think we've made our point about defense. Time to show them we're not helpless. Target their weapon systems only. Disable, don't destroy." "Aye, Captain. Targeting solutions locked." The Phoenix Rising's offensive capabilities were as revolutionary as its defenses. Instead of energy weapons or projectiles, human scientists had developed something entirely new. They called them graviton beams, focused gravitational waves that could tear apart molecular bonds with surgical precision. Fire. Invisible beams lashed out from the Phoenix Rising. To the Zephyron sensors, nothing happened. No energy discharge, no projectile launch, nothing their instruments could detect. But on each destroyer, weapon systems began failing. Plasma cannons fused solid, missile launchers jammed, power conduits to weapon arrays severed cleanly. In 30 seconds, 20 Zephyrin destroyers were completely disarmed. Commander Torvak watched his tactical display in horror as system after system went offline. No explosions, no visible damage to the hull, but his entire fleet had just been rendered helpless. His ships could still fly, their life support still functioned, but they couldn't fire a single shot. "What did they do to us?" his weapons officer asked, panic creeping into his voice. "I don't know," Torvak admitted. For the first time in his career, he felt genuine fear. Captain Mitchell's voice came through the communication system again, calm and measured. "Commander Torvak, we have disabled your weapons without harming your crew. This was not an attack but a demonstration. We came in peace and we still seek peaceful dialogue. Please inform Admiral Korthax that humanity wishes to speak with the Zephyrin Empire as equals. We will wait here for his response." Back at Station Prime, Valrix watched his screens in stunned silence. He had just witnessed 20 of the Empire's finest warships neutralized by a single vessel, and he still didn't understand how it had happened. The human ship had done something impossible, something that challenged everything the Zephyrin Empire believed about military superiority. Admiral Korthax stood perfectly still, processing what he had just witnessed. In 3,000 years of dominance, no one had ever defeated a Zephyron patrol fleet so easily. The humans hadn't even seemed to exert themselves. "Send word to the Imperial Council," he ordered quietly. "Tell them everything, and dispatch the entire Second Fleet to that location. 200 ships. If the humans want to talk, we'll talk, but we'll be ready for anything." The galaxy shifts. The Zephyrin High Council convened an emergency session for the first time in 500 years. The massive chamber at the heart of the Empire's capital world, filled with representatives from every major system. Holographic projections brought in leaders from distant colonies. The atmosphere crackled with tension and disbelief. Emperor Maxilian VII stood at the center, his ancient form still commanding despite his 1,000-year age. He had ruled the Zephyrin Empire for 6 centuries, overseeing its greatest expansion. Never in his reign had he faced something like this. "Play the recording again," he commanded. The holographic display showed the encounter between the 3rd Patrol Fleet and the human vessel. Council members watched in silence as 20 destroyers fired everything they had at a single ship, only to miss completely. They watched those same destroyers lose all offensive capability in seconds without any visible attack. "How is this possible?" demanded Councillor Vrex, representative of the military faction. "Our technology is the most advanced in the galaxy. We have conquered hundreds of species. No one has ever resisted us like this." "Perhaps," said Councillor Shayla, the lead scientist of the Empire, "we have been measuring advancement by the wrong metrics. The humans appear to have developed along completely different technological paths than any other species we've encountered." Emperor Maxilian silenced them with a gesture. "Admiral Korthax, you have assembled the Second Fleet at the contact point. What is the current situation?" Korthax appeared on the communication platform. "The human vessel remains stationary, Your Majesty. They have made no aggressive moves. They've actually begun transmitting detailed technical data about their defensive systems, claiming it's a gesture of good faith. My scientists are analyzing it, but preliminary assessments suggest they're being truthful. The technology is unlike anything in our databases. And what of our disabled ships? The humans have offered to help repair them, Your Majesty. They claim they can reverse whatever they did to our weapons systems." The council erupted in discussion. Some called for immediate attack with overwhelming force. Others urged caution, fearing what other surprises the humans might have. Emperor Maxilian raised his hand for silence once more. "We will talk to them," he decided, "but first I want to know everything about these humans. How did a species we dismissed as primitive develop such technology without us knowing?" Meanwhile, aboard the Phoenix Rising, Captain Mitchell was in deep conversation with Earth's leadership via quantum communication. President Chen appeared on her private screen, his face showing both pride and concern. "You did well, Sarah. The Zephyrins are talking instead of shooting. That's progress. But remember, this is just the beginning. We need to establish humanity's place in the galaxy without starting a war we're not ready for." "Understood, Mr. President, but I think we've already changed the game. They're scared of us now. Fear can lead to respect, but it can also lead to desperation. Be careful. The Phoenix Rising is our only ship with these capabilities. The other 4 are still under construction. If the Zephrins realize we're not as strong as we appear, things could go badly." Sarah nodded. The Phoenix Rising was humanity's prototype, a proof of concept that had succeeded beyond their dreams. But Earth didn't have a fleet of these ships yet. They had one extraordinary vessel and a lot of hope. "Captain," Lieutenant Chen called from the bridge, We're receiving a priority transmission from the Zephyrin Emperor himself. On my way. Sarah ended her call with the president and returned to the bridge. Emperor Maxillion's image filled the main screen. Even through the hologram, his presence was overwhelming. This was a being who had ruled a third of the galaxy for longer than humanity had known about other worlds. Captain Mitchell, the Emperor began, his voice resonating with authority. I am Emperor Maxillion of the Zephyrin Empire. You have done something remarkable today. Something impossible. I would know how. Sarah stood tall, meeting his gaze directly. Your Majesty, what we've done isn't impossible. It's simply different. Humanity developed in isolation on the galactic rim. We had to find our own solutions to the challenges of space travel. We didn't have examples to follow, so we created our own path. Your technology negated our weapons completely. How? We learned to work with the fundamental forces of the universe rather than against them. Your weapons are powerful, but they still operate within conventional physics. We found ways to step outside those conventions. The Emperor leaned forward. You could have destroyed our ships. Why didn't you? Because that's not who we are, Your Majesty. Humans have a saying, speak softly and carry a big stick. We prefer dialogue to destruction. We came here hoping to establish peaceful relations with the Zephyrin Empire and other galactic powers. And if we refuse? If we bring our full might against you? Sarah's expression remained calm, but her voice carried steel. Then you'll learn that the Phoenix Rising is not our only surprise. Humanity has been preparing for this moment for 50 years. We studied every major galactic power, including the Zephyrin Empire. We know your strengths, your tactics, your technology, and we built countermeasures for all of it. It was partially a bluff. Earth had indeed studied the galactic powers extensively, but they only had one fully operational ship with these capabilities. Still, the Zephyrins didn't need to know that. Emperor Maxillion was quiet for a long moment. Around him, his council waited in tense silence. Finally, he spoke. You said you're transmitting technical data about your defensive systems. Why would you reveal such secrets? Because secrets breed fear and fear breeds conflict. We're showing you that our defenses work not through some trick or stolen technology, but through genuine innovation. We're also showing you that we're confident enough in our abilities that we don't need to hide them. You're not afraid we'll find a weakness? Every system has weaknesses, Your Majesty. But by the time you could develop counters to our current technology, we'll have advanced even further. That's what humans do. We adapt, we evolve, we grow. It's our greatest strength. Chief Science Officer Rodriguez signaled to Sarah from his station. She glanced at his screen and saw that the Zephyrin fleet surrounding them had grown to 200 ships. The second fleet had arrived in full. Sarah returned her attention to the Emperor. Your Majesty, I see your second fleet has joined us. 200 ships is an impressive show of force. A precaution, Captain. Surely you understand, I do, and I hope you understand this. Sarah nodded to Chen, who activated a new display. The space around the Phoenix Rising shimmered. Suddenly, where there had been one ship, there were now 50. Each one identical to the Phoenix Rising, each one showing the same impossible energy signatures that had first alarmed the Zephyrin sensors. On every Zephyrin ship, alarms screamed. 50 human vessels had appeared from nowhere surrounding the second fleet. The tactical situation had reversed in an instant. Emperor Maxillion stood from his throne. Where did they come from? Our sensors detected nothing. Sarah smiled slightly. Another human innovation, Your Majesty. We call it dimensional phasing. The ships were always here, just slightly out of phase with normal space. Undetectable until we want them to be seen. It was the biggest bluff of Sarah's career. The 49 new signatures were holographic projections combined with sensor ghosts, a technology developed specifically for this moment. They looked real to every scanner, but they were illusions. The Phoenix Rising stood alone, but the Zephrins didn't know that. You planned this, the Emperor said, his voice carrying a note of respect. You knew we would respond with force. We hoped you wouldn't, but we prepared for the possibility. Your Majesty, humanity doesn't want war. We want partnership. The galaxy is vast enough for all of us. We have technologies you've never imagined. You have experience and infrastructure we lack. Together we could achieve things neither of us could accomplish alone. Counselor Shayla spoke up from beside the Emperor. Your Majesty, if I may. The humans' proposal has merit. Their technology could revolutionize our understanding of physics. And if they have 50 ships with these capabilities, a war would be costly, even if we won. which is not certain," added Admiral Korthax over the communication link. "Your Majesty, I've been analyzing their movements, their tactics. These humans think differently than any opponent we've faced. They're unpredictable, innovative. A war with them would not follow any patterns we know." Emperor Maxilian considered for a long moment. The council chamber was silent, the entire empire waiting for his decision. Finally he spoke. "Captain Mitchell, you have achieved something remarkable today. You've made the Zephyrin Empire stop and reconsider. That alone is worthy of respect. I propose a summit. Representatives from Earth and the Empire will meet on neutral ground. We will discuss the possibility of coexistence." Sarah felt relief wash over her but kept her expression neutral. "That's all we wanted, Your Majesty. A chance to talk, to find common ground. Do not mistake this for weakness, Captain. The Zephyrin Empire has ruled for 3 millennia. We will not be displaced by newcomers, no matter how clever their technology. We're not seeking to displace anyone, Your Majesty. We're seeking to add our voice to the galactic community. Humanity has much to offer and much to learn. We believe diversity makes everyone stronger." The Emperor nodded slowly. "We shall see, Captain Mitchell. We shall see. Admiral Korthax will coordinate with you for the summit arrangements." "And Captain?" "Yes, Your Majesty. Your illusion was masterful. 49 false ships that fooled our best sensors. But next time, we'll know to look for the subtle differences. The game, as you humans might say, is afoot." Sarah's eyes widened slightly. He had seen through the deception, at least partially. The Emperor's intelligence was not to be underestimated. "I look forward to playing it with you, Your Majesty." The communication ended. Around the Phoenix Rising, the Zephyrin's second fleet began to pull back, giving the human vessel space. The immediate crisis had passed, but Sarah knew this was just the beginning. "Captain," President Chen's image appeared on her personal screen again. "That was brilliantly handled. You've bought us the time we need. How long until the other ships are ready, Mr. President?" 6 months for the next 2. A year for the full fleet of 12. Can you maintain the illusion that long? We'll have to. The Zephyrins will be watching us closely now, but I think we've shifted the balance. They're not sure what we're capable of, and that uncertainty is our best protection. Over the following days, news of the encounter spread throughout the galaxy. The impossible had happened. A single human ship had faced down the Zephyrin Empire and emerged, not just unscathed, but victorious. Species that had been under Zephyrin rule for centuries began to wonder if change was possible. Those still free saw potential in these newcomers from the galactic rim. The Valens, ancient rivals of the Zephyrins, sent a diplomatic envoy to Earth. The Krishari Trading Consortium expressed interest in human technology. The mysterious Void Dancers, who rarely interacted with anyone, sent a single message: "Welcome to the game." Within the Zephyrin Empire, debates raged. Some called for immediate war before humanity could grow stronger. Others argued for alliance, seeing opportunity in human innovation. Emperor Maxilian watched it all, planning his next moves carefully. At the designated neutral ground, a space station operated by the Independent Merchants Guild, preparations began for the summit. Representatives from dozens of species requested observer status. What had started as a first contact between humanity and the Zephyrin Empire was becoming a galactic event. Captain Mitchell stood on the bridge of the Phoenix Rising, watching the stars. In her hand, she held a small device, the controlling unit for the holographic projection system. Such a simple thing to have changed the course of history. "Captain," Rodriguez approached her, "I've been thinking. When the Zephyrins figure out our trick, and they will, we'll need something new, something real this time. Already ahead of you, Chief." She showed him a classified transmission from Earth. The Phoenix Rising was just the beginning. Earth's engineers have been busy. Project Prometheus is already underway. Prometheus? That's ambitious naming. Stealing fire from the gods, Sarah smiled. Except this time we're not stealing. We're creating our own fire. The galaxy is about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology, it's our imagination. The Phoenix Rising held its position, a small ship that had cast a very large shadow. Around it, the galaxy watched and waited. The age of human expansion had begun, not with conquest, but with a conversation. The Galactic Empire had indeed panicked at the impossible human warship. Now they had to decide whether to embrace the change or fight it. For humanity, the journey to the stars had taken an unexpected turn. They had come seeking a place in the galactic community, and had instead found themselves reshaping it. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. The galaxy would never be the same.